Oh yeah, sorry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Always Open. On today's show, we're going to be talking about if you could change something about the world, what would it be and why? A question from our box of issues, maybe one or two of those, playing a game of Cupidity, and we're doing a new little segment right here at the beginning of the show that you'll see in just a second. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and with me today, I got my friends.
Hannah and Mariel, her friends. I was waiting for the actual introduction. No, I'm just kidding.
I got my coworker.
Hello.
My coworker and only coworker.
Only coworker.
Just one. I'm Hannah McCarthy.
Yeah!
Bonjour, it's me.
French Mariel.
French. Oh oui oui. Je m'appelle. Je m'appelle Marielle. Je suis de Austin, Texas.
Nice.
That's about.
You are Austin,
that's actually-
Texas.
Yes.
Je
Damn.
suis de.
Fuck on.
Isn't that I'm from?
Yeah.
Just we do? Nice.
Just
Yeah.
we did.
I don't remember.
None of us are qualified.
I remember none of my
I'm
friends.
French.
Yeah, I'm Papillon.
Oui, oui, oh,
Hey,
fromage.
Yeah.
You friendly neighborhood French girls here.
There you go.
You look great.
Styling.
Thanks. I'm just my friend's about to drop like some merch, so like I don't know. She's a real bitch. Don't tell her I said that, but
Is she also your coworker?
she's also more importantly she's just my coworker.
That's a good turn.
Good news.
Yeah, look at this. The Barb stuff, you guys, go get it.
It's out.
You can get French fries.
Unless you're a first member and
can
you're
get
watching this on Monday. It's out
Yeah,
tomorrow.
It's out tomorrow.
Nice. Congrats, by the way.
Yeah.
Hell
Thank
yeah.
you. Amazing.
New release.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
Thanks, man. I'm
wear it
excited about it.
backwards.
Yeah.
I expect
Or you
brave
cannot wear it at all.
poodles.
I should have done a poodle.
Your hair is
Damn.
flawless.
Poodle skirt. Q3.
Yeah. I should have rented a poodle for the photo shoot for the merch. That
That's
was
a
that
damn good
would've
idea.
been
There's
idea.
time.
That'd have been cute.
There's
go back.
time.
I
You
know.
could go to the Louvre. The Louvre.
Oh, I thought you were saying the loo.
You could go to that too.
Yeah. Just go. Let's all
French
go to the
pool?
bathroom.
That's a little more accessible.
It
than the
is.
Louvre, so
It's true.
Jay-Z
I'll
and
go to this
Beyonce
one
got
right
it.
here.
Why can't we?
that's
That's
true.
bullshit.
Well, welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
And Hannah's first time.
First time.
Terrifying.
Hannah,
Hannah.
this is your first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It
Hannah is one of our favorite people in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
She works over in live action. Do you want to tell the audience a little about what you do and all that
Sure.
jazz?
Yeah, I work, as you said, work over in live action. I'm a producer and writer over there. I work on I work on all of our docs, on all of our like unscripted shows. I've been over there. I think it'll be like almost 2 years. We're coming up on 2
damn,
years.
girl.
I know. It seems with people. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. But
No, it feels like you got hired like yesterday.
yeah, like yesterday. Yeah.
And you used to do RT Life when you first
I
got
did.
here. So you did all the great RT Lives.
I did a lot of RT Life.
Probably hear your voice in a lot of the
Yeah,
backgrounds
if
of
you
it.
recognize the deep voiced lady, it's this one.
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, it was actually great starting on RT Life because I got to meet just everybody all at once.
Yeah.
Because it was basically like someone would be like, oh, we're doing this crazy thing. Like you were like, I'm gonna open up my Snapchat and get a bunch of dick pics.
Yep.
Come on over. And I'd be like, okay. So I just got to meet people really, really quickly at the company because I was just running around filming everything.
One of
We
the
should just make
first
everyone
things.
do.
Yeah, it was great.
That's your
Good
orientation.
icebreaker.
Hey,
Yeah.
Run around with
Film
the camera.
3 RT Lives in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the first things that we ever filmed together, this is kind of how we got to meet each other, was the what was it, Dirty Santa?
It was
or
Dirty
whatever,
Santa.
whatever. it
Bad
was.
Santas.
Bad Santa.
Yeah, it was you and Tyler.
And I. It was around Christmas, and we dressed up as Santa, and then we kidnapped Barbara and made her come and be Bad Santa.
and you danced up on me.
We grinded up on you.
and they sang bad, bad. You're a bad, bad.
Is
this
Ooh,
the same
you would not
day
eat
that we
girl.
did on the spot together? Because you both were dressed as
No, that was at a later
Got
date.
you.
We reprised the Bad Santa.
You have the costume, use it again.
because Tyler, you and
Yeah.
Tyler were already like friendly and started to
Yeah,
hang out
I already
and stuff.
kind of knew him. I don't know how.
And he was like, "Hey,
Sorry.
I want to shoot this thing."
He's your coworker, not friend.
Yeah, he's not my coworker or friend.
Sorry, I'm an asshole. Let's move on.
But yeah, so he was like, "Yeah, this new girl Hannah is gonna come and shoot it for us." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Well, I hope she's okay with us being like complete fucking idiots because we're about to grind up on people dressed as Santa."
I was.
And there it was.
And it was perfect.
It's a good introduction to just like the life of broadcast in general, or like
Yeah.
film, acting, period.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
there's no personal space at all, and
Yeah.
weird shit's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and you can either roll with it or find another job.
Exactly.
Yeah, get
This is
used to
gonna
it
happen.
fast.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm very happy we finally got you on the show. It's
Yeah.
been a
I'm
long
excited.
time.
We've been wanting
Yeah.
this for a very
Thank
long
you.
time.
Yeah.
You're so sweet.
We have.
No need to be nervous either.
Exactly. We'll just make it very hard for you.
Perfect.
We'll just sit here silently.
Well, guys, so today's
You're
God
unnatural.
help
I'm
me.
gonna try my best.
Well, we want to try a new segment on the show. We usually open the show with a shot that's user submitted, but Sometimes it's hard to find the ingredients for each shot, or people submit these really crazy things that we just can't do on the
Some
show.
girl from Denmark, I think, wanted us to kiss a fish.
Kiss a
You never-
fish,
You never
which
sent the fish?
Maybe we'll do it at some point.
fish.
But we wanted to have another option to start the show off. So we
Like
thought,
a freshman?
oh,
Loophole.
I see what you did there. So what we wanted to do, just in terms of wanting to spread more positivity and love throughout the world, we're going to do a new segment called Cheers to That, where every now and then, all of us, one of us, or even you guys could submit something positive that has happened in the last week or two in your life that you just want to celebrate and say cheers to that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So if you guys have something you want us to celebrate for you, just tweet us and use hashtag cheers for that, cheers to that, not a for, wrong word, or email us alwaysopen@rooster.com, whatever you prefer. I'll start things off.
Go for it, Barbara.
I was just in San Francisco over the weekend, and we were at the Palace of Arts or something like that. It's right near, it's near the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's this like beautiful outdoor area with a lot of like old structures and buildings and stuff like that. And we were walking around and looking around, and there was like these beautiful flowers, and it looked like a temple almost. And we were walking past, and we just hear people applauding. And we come around the corner, and there's these two women who just, I guess, got married right there. And it was just them two, someone who married them, and like 4 people who were with them. And these women were kissing and hugging and like crying. And like I just came around the corner and I was like, yes, oh my God. I just started bawling because like they were like clearly crying, and everyone around them was like clapping and crying. And I was like, it was just a
That's so
beautiful
nice.
moment.
So sweet.
Yeah. So cheers
Yeah,
to
cheers to
that.
I love that.
Cheers.
And they invited you to the wedding,
Yeah.
right?
I hope so.
Good.
Are you gonna go to the reception?
Yeah,
maybe,
it's
maybe you
coming.
could like official. Well, if they're already married, maybe
They're
they got
already
engaged. I don't know.
The
Hopefully,
honeymoon.
yeah.
She'll join them
Exactly.
for the honeymoon.
Or their vowel renewal.
There you go.
Mine also has to do with 2 ladies marrying each other, which is great because
Yep.
that's all this show is about.
That's what it is. That's definitely what it is.
That's what we're gonna change
We're all
the name
good,
of the
yeah.
show. Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Ladies marrying each other. I went to a wedding this past weekend for a friend of mine, and she was marrying another woman, and Barbara's fucking up the announcement.
She's trying her best.
But anyway, so my friend, her mom has really struggled with her coming out, and like she had been previously married before to a man, didn't work out, she hated it, whatever. Is now remarrying a woman, is the happiest she's ever been, but her mom was not on board and like did not want to come to the wedding, was just kind of like, keep me out of it, don't want to be there, don't want to show up, like I don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
Her mom came around, ended up coming to the wedding and had like a fantastic time, was like crying, hugging, loving on everyone, and it was just like, I had my moment where I just sat there and I was like, oh God,
Beautiful.
yes, yes. And I kept commenting on it because I was just like, like that's just the power of what I think exposure and happiness does. Because a lot of people who aren't accepting of their family members or something, it's because I don't think they understand like the true happiness that people want just by being themselves.
Just to get to be with each other.
Yeah,
And love
and
their
so and also seeing that like it's normal for everyone. Like no one else is going there having an issue. Everyone's just there to celebrate and be happy and love. And it was just so much. It was just so sweet. That's awesome. Wonderful.
Well, so nice.
to that.
that.
Keep the cheers
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Cheers to that shit.
This is a quick way for us to get through our drink.
We're with you.
That's
Yeah.
lovely.
I have a quick one. You may know this about me. It may be common knowledge that I foster kittens.
Do.
I stalk you on social media.
Might be common knowledge that that's the thing I do. And so right before I left for a work trip, I brought my 2 kittens in who were ready to be adopted, and they both got adopted. They both got adopted by people that...
Wait, Ron and Hermione.
Ron and Hermione.
Already.
Adorable.
Kittens.
So cute, wonderful. But they both got adopted, and they got adopted by people who followed my foster account for them. So that's pretty unusual. I don't usually actually get to see them grow up and like become like adult cats. They just
Yeah.
kind of send them off into the world, and I'm like, please have a wonderful life. I'll never see you again. And I cry.
Meow, 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 meow.
Just,
meow, meow.
yeah, and they're just like, I don't know what you're saying
Send them on their way.
at all. So normally I don't get that, and so it was really nice to have that for once that I actually get to see them grow up and get to see them have a wonderful life. And then just this morning, the woman who adopted Ron sent me a screenshot of him in like a kitten harness because her other cat, he has now like a cat sister, and they like take her hiking and she climbs trees. This cat is like awesome, and so they're gonna train him to like wear a little kitten harness and like run around and be outside, which I thought was so cute.
That's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, really adorable.
Cheers to that.
We're gonna keep cheering these cats.
Make me cry more than the lesbians.
Speaking of which, before we move on to my cheers, have you heard of the kitten lady? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, all right.
Also
we'll
named
talk-
Hannah. I
Really?
love her.
She's the one
yes.
that like basically nurses them back to health. Like tiny.
She's
tiny
awesome.
little-
She's like fully covered in tattoos,
Yeah.
super cool. Also named Hannah.
Yeah.
I think also Canadian, maybe.
I'm not sure. She's also hyper
Yes.
intelligent. She does
So smart.
seminars all the time.
So smart, yeah.
I like watching her stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
my cheers is this past week I went to Dallas to get some dental work done, which sucked. But
Cheers to that.
Yeah, I know. Cheers. Looking good. Got some straight teeth now, much to my mother's chagrin. But the positive side of it is I get to visit my grandfather who has Alzheimer's and dementia, and he doesn't remember who I am, but he remembers that like I'm important. So I like going to talk to him, and he's still, I don't know, there's like pieces of him that emerge where I'm like, there, okay, like you're back, you're still there, no problem. But the coolest thing is we moved into a new facility. And they're testing out this new thing with Alzheimer's patients where their main lobby area for them is like a little city. So they have like a barber shop and a diner and a theater and like all this little stuff that you can go to. Obviously they can't leave and go out into the street, but this gives them the feeling of freedom and independence.
I love that.
So I basically like had a little mini vacation with him, and like we went to the parlor and had ice cream together, and it was just really, really cute. And while we were there, I thought, I'll just start recording some of our talks together. And I think I want to turn it into a podcast called the Alzheimer's Interviews. So
I love it.
That's
I love
awesome.
that.
I'm actually tearing up
Yeah,
more than the lesbians.
I know. I was looking over because I could see you were like getting teary.
That's such a great idea.
I love that.
Because I always think about people who have Alzheimer's and they're not allowed to leave. And like some people probably think like, oh, if they don't remember anything, is it going to be a problem? But like,
They still,
humans.
they
They
still
wanna have,
experience
like,
like their days, and even if they're not remembered, like they,
yeah.
they're gonna have.
I've spoken to so many people who have that mentality too. It's like they don't remember, so what does it matter? I'm like, no, but the feelings are still there. They feel loneliness, they feel isolation, they're very confused. I mean, when I used to visit my grandfather's other facilities, I had patients would come up to me and say like, where am I? Or like, where am I supposed to be? And I was like, you know what? I don't know who you are, but I can spend 10 minutes talking to you. And I would like draw them a little picture or something. And that's a good thing too, if you get them a memento, something they can look at later. So I'd always draw them like a little cat, and I'd write under it like, you are so loved, and then give that to them.
so nice.
So, like, here you
the
go.
theme today is just love and cats. And cats and cats. I love it. Well, let's move on and do some cupidity. This is actually a good icebreaker too.
Yeah.
Now that I know about it.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
I'm
a good
glad we
icebreaker.
tested this together. Time. So Cupidity is an icebreaker game that we like to play on the show where we take questions from OkCupid at
forgot
random,
about this one.
and we just rapid fire them to each of you guys, obviously one at a time, and you just answer the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Some of them might be a little personal.
Terrified.
You'll be fine. We'll be fine.
This is where we
Just
catch
a cat.
Just say
Answer
cats.
every question with cats.
is
It's
where
just
we
gonna be cats, no matter
Some
what.
of them are like
Yeah.
easy, like what's your favorite color?
Cats.
Cats is my favorite.
All right, Lindsay, you ready to go first?
Yes.
We ready with our timer? And go. Do you feel that animals are more important than humans?
Certain situations, yes.
Which is more appealing, a life of leisure or a life of accomplishment?
Ooh, I'd say leisure. Yeah.
If you don't do anything at all for an entire day, how does that make you feel?
Awesome.
Do you wish things like vampires, fairies, werewolves, ghosts, or something along those lines were real?
Yes, and I wish I was any of those. Done.
Oh, so fast.
Oh, yeah, it's only 25
Wow.
seconds. We only
Yeah.
got
Okay. Yeah, it goes quick.
I mean, I've said it on here before. I used to tell people I was a genie, and I just needed to get my third wish completed so I could escape my elementary school. So,
That's amazing.
I'm with you also on the leisure thing.
oh yeah,
Like-
like done.
If I could choose between going out and doing something exciting and fun, or like staying home and ordering pizza and watching Netflix, I'm like,
What was the
Done
question?
and done.
a life of leisure or a life of accomplishment?
I'm the opposite, man.
I think I'm the same.
I
Accomplishment.
just want to look back and be like, I did all the things that I wanted to fucking do.
I'm gonna. I spent 3 hours on the couch.
I guess for me, like working here already has given me so many opportunities that I never ever thought that I would have. So for me, like I guess maybe I should set the bar higher for myself. But my personal viewpoint is like, dude, holy shit.
You're like, I've already done it all.
Yeah, you've already
Nailed
achieved
it.
so
Why
much.
could I relax?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, calm down.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, are you ready? Miss Hannah.
Question mark. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, ready with our timer and go. Does your ideal schedule involve staying up very late at night and sleeping during the day?
Yes.
Do you dress up for Halloween almost every year?
Yes.
Would you enjoy going to an all-night dance party?
No.
Yes, you better fucking say no.
Would you consider performing analingus on a partner who
Y'all said no.
Cats.
Cats. My safe word.
I'll do one last one. Do you find that arguing with your significant other is arousing to you?
Yes, and a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that I was raised by 2 lawyers.
Okay.
Oh,
So
there you go.
I just grew up being
I
trained.
object. Let's fucking do it.
I object.
I got really used to arguing a lot, and so it's just something built into me that like arguing is fun for me.
The motion
Yeah.
is sustained.
There you go.
I
wanna
love how
talk
that
about
question
the-
was just snuck in there.
I was like, oh God.
Y'all said,
reading it and I was like,
Christian.
yeah, I'm vanilla as hell. How you get that in there? All right.
The question about staying up all night to party or something. What was
Oh,
it?
dance party, all night dance party.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it is so hard for me to get Hannah to do anything on the weekends.
That's true.
The weekends is the relaxed time.
Well, yeah, but yeah, also I'll be like, hey, like let's go, like get a drink. She's just like, why can't we just stay home?
I legitimately remember a text where I was like, why can't we just like use adult coloring books and like watch a movie in
There
our
you go.
pajamas?
I was like, gotta get out of the house every once in a while.
I'd always just try and blend the two where I'm like, you guys come over to the house and we'll get drunk there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yes, a little bit of everything. Yeah, why can't I just stay
I
home?
respect it. I respect
Stay home club.
I much prefer like house parties and house
Oh, me
get-togethers
too.
than going somewhere.
I agree.
That being said, if I do go out and about, I know there's always that reluctancy of like, okay, I'm gonna go through like, especially Austin, there's traffic, parking is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
We have to deal with babysitter now, making sure that Iris is taken care of.
Everything's expensive.
Yes. And so I'm like, okay, there's a lot of negative factors here, but the second I'm there, I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, woo.
That happens
true.
to me every time I'm invited somewhere. I always end up saying yes because I never want to be that person that's just like, no, I don't really have a good reason, but nah.
Yeah.
So I usually end up going, and I'm always like, I don't want to do this. I'm just like, oh, so lazy. I'd rather just stay home. And the second I'm out, it's like, I'm glad I came.
Right.
This is fun.
The alcohol helps. Yeah.
And sometimes the good company every now and then.
Yeah.
Nope, just the alcohol.
It was your birthday, I think, 2 years ago, where we were gonna go get dinner or drink somewhere, and then go to Barbarella's.
Oh
after.
yeah, Luster, Pearl, and Barb.
And I knew this was gonna happen, so I like mentally and physically prepared for it all day. I'm like, I know I'm going out tonight. I know I'm probably gonna get drunk. It's gonna be a late night, and so I was fine.
Yeah.
But if someone's like, let's go get drinks or dinner, and like you go out and they're like, now let's go to this other bar and like
Yeah.
continue that, and I'm like,
Yeah, you have to be ready for those kind of things.
yeah,
Especially like it's such a pain in Austin now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's a pain anywhere.
That's true.
After the age of 21.
Yeah. We're all like old ladies. We're like, can't we just stay home? Can't
Yeah.
we just like
our
have
cats.
fun in our house?
Straight up.
Yeah, with our cats.
It turns into 10 p.m. I'm like, well, I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
Exactly.
All right, Ms. Merrill, you ready to go?
All right, let's do it.
Let's do. And go. Do you believe the term meant to be, as in fate or destiny with another person?
Do I believe in it? Not really.
Generally in life, what makes you happier, quality or variety?
Quality.
Divide your age by 2. Have you had sex with at least that many people?
Yeah.
Surprise math question.
I was like,
No. Wait. Wait. Divide your age by 2. Okay,
Yeah.
13. Have I had sex with that many people?
Yeah.
Over or under? Would that be any people?
I guess it's like at least that number.
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't know if we've ever discussed numbers on
I don't
the
think
show.
we have. I've not boned 13 people though. I've boned 1,300 people.
There you go.
I want to make sure.
Nice. Let's
Nice.
get that emoji in here.
I don't think
Nice.
we've discussed numbers, but I forgot. Maybe it was on the spot or something. They're like, okay, who's had sex with more than 4 people? I'm like, okay. And they're like, who's had sex with more than this people? I'm like, okay, you can stop. You can stop now.
stop,
That's
stop.
okay.
At any point, we could stop it.
Anytime now.
Yeah, that was a. You can't do math, clearly.
Yeah, that would have gotten me.
It's getting easier and easier for me to divide my age in half as I get closer to 30.
Happy birthday, P.S.
Yeah,
Years
happy
fast.
birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
At this point now, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Your birthday is the same day as our nephew's birthday, so we will never forget it.
Yep. I always know I'll get a birthday message from Michael too, because I know it's his
Yep.
his little nephew, and he's
Yeah.
like, I know this date every time.
That's sweet.
Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, got some bevs nearby for like an hour or two, and then went to dinner with Trevor.
Nice.
Had a lovely evening. And then we watched Making a Murderer.
Trade-off.
Ooh.
You've never seen it before?
I've seen it before.
Okay.
He hadn't. So I was like, I really want to watch the show again.
Yes.
And we're once again enthralled and infuriated.
Yes.
Oh, dude. He was talking about that today at work. He's like, it's so frustrating to watch the just like everything that could have been done that people either neglected or just kind of pushed aside and said, it's not that big of an
Or
issue.
just chose to ignore.
Yes, same thing with the Jinx. I've been watching that with my mom because she's from Scarsdale, so she was like,
God.
"Oh, okay, like I'm familiar with some of this story."
Case.
And we were just like, "Oh my God, all these cops are like, shut up!" Especially like a lot of it took place in the '80s, so it's especially frustrating with something like these women came in and were complaining, and you're like, "Okay, I'll kill you."
Oh yeah. I actually went to Robert Durst's house in Galveston because we were there.
God.
My girlfriend has a beach house, so we went and found it. We just sat out there for like 5 minutes. We were like, oh, this is a house.
That'd be so
This is a
fucking
house.
Jesus.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Terrifying.
If you find my dad's old house, you can sit in front of that too.
Okay.
Feel free.
Kill people too?
No, not that I know of.
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, Barbara, are you ready?
Yes.
And go. Have you ever had sex with a person within the first hour of meeting them?
No.
Would it bother you if a partner insisted you were perfect and refused to acknowledge your shortcomings?
Yes.
Have you ever had sex in a place where there was a high risk of being caught?
Yes.
Should your mate also become your best friend?
Yes.
When having sex, do you like to have your hair pulled?
Gently.
If given the chance, would you rather learn to play a musical instrument or learn to speak another language?
Ooh. Probably another language.
Same.
At this point. When I was younger, I probably would have said instrument, but now I'm like, I like to travel.
Music is a language. Just saying. So
Well, someone's fancy.
I played clarinet in 6th grade.
I'm a real savant.
I once tried to play guitar, and I learned
I once tried.
one chord.
Nice. Oh yeah. Which chord was it? Do you
I think it
remember?
was like G.
Probably the G chord.
Whatever
I think
the
that's the easiest
easiest one is, like the learning
I
one.
don't know. I played piano.
I played piano as well.
I did percussion. I did a lot of piano lessons. I had a drum set in my room, and I tried to form a band with my friends, and we weren't that good. And then in college, I tried to learn bass, but the only thing I ever learned was the bass line to Message in a Bottle, which was just boo-doo, doo-doo, doo.
That's amazing.
I taught myself the 7 Nation Army.
Nice.
Bum, 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 bum,
That's all you
bum,
need to know.
bum.
Yes.
That's it.
Got it.
It's like you literally just go like down the fret. And then you're like,
So
I'm
between us, we could form another band.
Ooh,
Yes.
we could. Ooh, yeah, we got
our
3
band.
pianos and
3 pianos and
good. And half, or not even half, but like
1 line.
a 12th of a guitar.
Done.
That's all we need.
All right, so before I move on, I want to thank Movement. I was about to say spank, but I don't want to spank them. I want to thank them because they're great. This episode of Always Open is brought to you by Movement. You guys have heard me talk about Movement. You know these 2 college dropouts that started their own watch company. This company has grown like crazy, and now with almost 2 million watches sold in 160 countries, they continue to revolutionize fashion on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. Movement has come far from being crowdfunded kids working out of a living room. In the past year, they've not only introduced a ton of new watch collections for both men and women, but also expanded to sunglasses and fashion-forward bracelets for her.
Ooh, I love it.
Or him, you know, whoever.
Anyone can be fashion
You
forward.
do you, boo.
Exactly. Trevor has a pair of Movement sunglasses.
Dude, they're awesome. Yeah.
Every time he wears them, I go, whew.
Do you do that when I wear mine too? Because I wear that. We have the exact same.
Exact same ones. Whenever I see you in them, I go, whew.
I love those
Girl.
glasses. I wear them all the time.
They look good on you.
Thank you.
Very fashion-forward.
Hey, thank you.
And I counted this weekend, and I have 6 Movement watches.
Ooh.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
One for every type of outfit.
Can you just
You
do the
almost have
arm
one for
at
every
this
day of the
point?
week.
I should.
Just the
Boom.
full sleeve.
Or just like rotate them, like the faces, so that like no matter where I'm looking on my arm, I could
You can always see the time.
Yeah. Always ready to go. Movement watches start at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at $400 to $500. Movement watches offer classic design with quality construction and styled minimalism. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/open. See why Movement keeps growing, check out their expanding collection, and go to mvmte.com/open. Join the movement. I like to movement.
Hey.
That's free for you, Movement.
Yeah. Okay. Take that clip. Put it all over.
Put it on your website.
There you go.
It's great.
Hashtag always open.
Thanks for the laugh.
We'll say, random observation I just had too on Barbara's single, just because I have my arm up, it looks like there's like a naked mole rat or something.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
love it. All right, so let's move on to our first question of the evening/day whenever you're watching this show. It could be middle of the night.
Anytime.
Yeah.
This comes from Adam P. And Adam wants to know, if you could change one thing about the way the world is today, what would it be?
There's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty vague, I guess, but a good blanket would be stop killing each other. Just stop that.
That'd be
Enough.
nice.
Yeah.
That's something that I never understood why that is something that has ever happened in the world. Like, why another human being felt compelled to end someone's life.
I can understand, like, I mean, biologically, we have the same animal instincts that other species have. And we just pride ourselves in, elevating ourselves from animals and saying, okay, we have intellect, we have the ability to have rational thought and critical thinking. So therefore, I would think moralistically, we would say, let's not do that. And a majority of people do, but unfortunately, they either fall back into those emotions and allow that to get the better of them for a moment. I think a lot of people could just use 10 seconds of their life back. But some people are sick and twisted and decide to calculate it and
Maybe
kill
that's
people.
also telling of the fact that we need better recognition of mental health issues.
Agreed.
And that needs to be taken more seriously and be treated also as seriously as health issues, like physical health issues. And I don't think it is, especially in the US, which is something that's very scary. And I think a lot of that stems from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always like the Jim Jeffries joke when he's talking about guns. Like, if we still had muskets, people would have a lot more time to have to think about what they're going to do because it just takes so long that by the time you're like, you know what, I'm done. I don't need to do this. I'm not that angry about it. And you just like move on.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I know it's a sensitive debate too, and I'm sure there's going to be some angry people in the comments. C'est la vie. For my personal opinion, is like, okay, we're looking at gun control here. A lot of the counter arguments is like, well, you take away guns from people, then someone's going to stab you or something like. Okay, well, but let's look at what our success rate would be for survival if someone had a knife pointed at me as opposed to a gun. There's a reason why the term is you don't bring a gun to a knife fight. Or sorry, flip that. But still, you wouldn't say that if you didn't know that you're going to have better chances of survival.
The odds are higher.
Being able to just end someone's life without getting close to them or even thinking about it. Even as an accident, a lot of people die from guns that, people find a gun in a house and then accidentally hurt themselves or whatever it is. I do definitely agree with that sentiment. That argument is completely invalid.
Yes.
I feel the exact opposite. I wish there was more death.
There you go. Yes, Wednesday Addams over here.
Mary's like, we need a new plague. We need more dead people out of
I've
here.
been watching
just want
the
more
Addams
My
Family
Favorite
recently,
Murder.
and that was
Hannah, it's your
perfect for
turn.
it.
All right, I'm done. I've made my comment.
More cats.
More cats.
You want more death? I want more cats.
I wish I could invent an empathy machine. And I wish I could go to people, all sorts of different opinions, all sorts of walks of life, and then put them into this machine and just do some calculations and be like, boop, 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 boop. This is the person that like, you're gonna live a day in someone else's life and shoes and everything, you know, and just like have people experience things that they can't experience and they don't know how to experience or they don't care to experience, you know, because I think kind of the story I was telling earlier, like a lot of people, like fear comes from ignorance and not in like lack of exposure, and there's so much of that going on right now that like if people could just like sit down and be like, well, I wonder what that situation's like. Like right now, the huge thing that's going on, like I feel like right now, especially in the U.S., like every other day there's another huge issue popping up, whether it's like the Me Too movement or right now, like we're having this big immigration debate. But like, God, if you could just like have someone who's like, well, you know, these people shouldn't be coming over illegally and like their children should, you know, get separated. It doesn't matter. Like, I wish you could just put that person in like a 3-year-old's shoes and like have them get separated from their
mother or father of that child that gets taken from them.
I think there's just so much like, and I think this comes from any, you know, it's not, I don't think it's like a very nonpartisan thing, but like there's just so many people who are so closed off from even pretending to like empathize with someone. And I'm just like, oh my God, I have so much empathy. I don't know what to do with it most of the time. So I just cry it out.
That's kind of what I love about the internet is, there's a lot of negativity there and there's a lot of bad there. But the positive that I get from it is there's this exchange of information and ideas that a lot of people would not have had access to because of things like that. Hey, I grew up in this town. This is how my town thinks, period. Or this is how my family thinks. That's how I'm going to think for the rest of my life. I mean, myself, I was, you know, when we were the generation of Facebook, like we were the first people to get involved. And I was like, wow, I'm talking to people who don't even live in my city. This is so interesting. And that's when I first discovered in Austin too. I was like, oh, I'll talk to some people here, totally different walks of life. And I related with them on some issues because I was already kind of different from people in Dallas, but it really allowed me to find myself. And I feel like if I had stayed in the area that I was in and never had that experience, I really wouldn't have been true to myself for a little bit.
Yeah, I think the internet to me is such a blessing, but also a curse at the same time, where people do get exposed to different ways of thinking and different walks of life. But it's also a great way for them to find people who are like-minded, and maybe
Echo
those
chamber.
could be an echo chamber of people who think very negative thoughts on certain things and become dangerous.
Can't agree there. Yes.
So it's like, oh, it's good and bad at the same time.
Yep. Said that before. I'm like, the best and worst thing about the internet is anyone can post anything.
Yeah.
There you go.
It could be very dangerous.
But we talked about that before too, like especially with your upbringing. I think I've spoken about how, especially with political views, it's interesting that a lot of times when you speak to people and you say, hey, what do you feel about this? They'll repeat what they were taught as children. Understandable. But I feel like you're doing a disservice to yourself to not try and at least research other points of view and say, okay, maybe I disagree with this, maybe I disagree with that. If you end up completely agreeing with the views that you were brought up with after you've done that research, by all means, no problem. You put the effort out. But you'll never really know unless you actually try and like empathize. Exactly what Mariel's saying.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's similar to Mariel's with empathy, but I wish that I could just make everyone learn to accept that people want to be who they are, love who they want to love, be their own person, believe in what they want to believe in a way where they're not pushing their beliefs onto other people. I think everyone should be able to believe in what they want to believe in and live their life how they want to. But I think it gets dangerous when people think that everyone else needs to be like them or have the same thoughts, and that if someone's doing something different, that's wrong or that's a sin, or they need to change to suit their ideal of a human being. I think that's where it gets really dangerous, and I wish that's the thing I wish I could just change the most. It's kind of like, I guess cheesy to say, but essentially world peace, which I know is like very Miss America.
The Miss America world peace.
But it's like, that would be amazing if everyone could just learn to live with each other and accept people for their uniqueness and their differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that too, just talking about like, your belief should not harm other people in the same way. Because I feel like sometimes when people point out criticisms of someone's belief, when they are being oppressive, like, hey, your belief system is actively harming me as a person or my sexuality or my way of life. They say, oh, well, I'm allowed to believe whatever I want. It's like, okay, but you have to understand that like the person that you're speaking to has rights and freedoms too that you are now infringing on with your beliefs. So let's back it up. Back it up.
It's like if you are a person who is very much like, a man should be with a woman and never, skew another way, and it's like, okay, well, if you're someone who only believes that, then you do that. You do that.
Yeah, but don't tell me how to live.
If someone else wants to be with someone because that's who they want to be with and that makes them happy, that should not have any. It just like it's something that makes me so frustrated and angry about that. It like.
I think it's just ignorance and just people get comfortable in their own ways, and anything that kind of disrupts that balance makes them uncomfortable, and they're like, I don't want this, so just get it away from me or do something else.
Oh, it is very interesting when I've seen people who are very, very confident saying things like that, like, I don't think gay marriage should be legal, period. And a group of people or their peers that they're used to talking to, they're all like, yeah, agreed, like totally comfortable. Second you get them in another scenario, they're like, I think, and you're like, oh, it's not so easy to say that now, huh? You don't have the support and the encouragement that you had before. So,
yes, I think a lot of it also, as we said at the beginning, is just exposure to that, like how the person's mom at first was very unaccepting, but then when you see people and how they are just people, and they just want to be happy, and they just want to love each other, and that once you see it in person or exposed to that kind of thing, it changes your viewpoint. And I think a lot of people just don't get that exposure and live in a very small town or in a very closed community, or they don't, and they're just intolerant.
I think that's a huge thing right now is going on. It's like, oh, like the middle America, like conservative people, but it's like there's tons of people there that don't believe that way, and there's tons of people who might live in New York City or Austin, Texas, or the most liberal places in the country who don't give a fuck. I mean, who are super conservative, so it's kind of hard to generalize.
It's definitely not directly a thing, but
What's a lot of people say too, like, oh, you just think that way because you live in Austin. I'm like, dude, I came from Dallas. Like, I live with the most conservative people still, and we disagree on a lot of issues, but we're respectful of each other and that we want to be independent thinkers. And I really don't like I don't know, becoming politically indoctrinated with people. I try my best to research every media outlet that I possibly can and really try and do critical thinking for myself.
Yeah.
Hannah, you also want more death, right?
Yeah. More death.
No, she wants more depth.
Depth.
More the
Like
P.
I was saying earlier, I've been watching Addams Family again because I keep seeing all these GIFs on Tumblr about it. I'm like, fuck, man, I missed that movie. I'm just gonna throw it on. Fuck it. So like Wednesday Addams is awesome. I love her,
Yes,
and
she's
that reminded me of her perfectly. Is like there's one scene where she's at a summer camp, and her mom's like, or Morticia, she goes, Wednesday's at that age when she has one thing on her mind, and she goes, homicide.
Yes,
That's
me.
What about you, Hannah?
I was gonna say it's more maybe specific. Well, it's not that specific. It's in the same kind of vein, but I think about like ecological destruction, like environmental concerns a lot. It's something that I worry about because I hear about all these things and I see those like horrible videos of like the turtle getting the straw pulled out of its nose, and you're like, what have we done? This is terrible. And so I worry about, you know, you were saying if you could build like an empathy machine, I was like, God, I wish I could build like a trash machine that would just like take all of the like waste in the world and turn it into like energy. Because I think about the fact that we have these like huge dumps full of stuff that's gonna take 500 years to decompose or more.
It's terrifying.
And it's like really, it's just scary. Like the volume of it
Yeah.
that's out there, like watching anything that talks about just like the waste that's generated by like fast fashion brands. It's like things you don't really think about, and just how it literally piles up, and it's a problem that, you know, our children or our children's children are going to have to deal with, and we're already like dealing with. And you know, I just think about like what could I wish there was something that made that easier to deal with. It's because it feels like a lot of the things we're talking about, it feels like a very insurmountable problem. Like it just seems so huge. It's like I don't even know where I would start. Like how do you explain empathy to someone? How do you even start to get rid of all of the stuff that's out there sitting in like
even
a landfill?
if like you do small things,
Right.
Like I know I have a friend who has a reusable straw.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, actually.
Yeah.
She brings it with her everywhere she goes because straws are like very dangerous to the environment, and you know, could get stuck in turtles' noses and
That's so specific, I know.
like
but-
that.
Look at my nose.
Yeah.
And it's small things like that where it's like,
Yeah.
even if one person is doing these small things, it's like, if it's hard to feel like you're having that much of an impact unless more people are doing this and more people are on board.
Yeah, I just keep hoping there are like really smart scientists out there who are like, I've already figured it out. We're going to turn all this trash throw it into a turbine, and it's all going to be great.
Super
You know?
compact.
I feel like you're definitely a good example of someone who like it cares, but you also like walk the walk. Like you take care of foster animals first of all, which I think is a huge important, like very important, because there's a lot of animals out there who don't have homes. But you're also a vegetarian, and you care about the environment in that way, and you're doing things that I think make you feel.
Yeah, that's
you're
like
making an
it's
impact.
very much I was kind of thinking like, what can I do that will make it just like a tiny, like invisible impact that I may never see, and it probably, maybe doesn't do anything.
I feel
But
you.
it's like in my head, I think that we've talked about, like, I stopped eating meat because partially I felt like a giant hypocrite being like, we gotta save the animals, but only these ones, like only these cats. So I started feeling like really weird about that, like coming home and like eating chicken in front of like my foster cats and being like, this is weird,
You
right?
wouldn't eat a cat though.
I know, but it was like I just started to feel
Unless you're
hypocrite.
really hungry.
Unless you're really hungry.
Hey, they would eat you.
Damn straight.
They would.
They would
like,
eat
haven't
you.
they done studies that
Yeah,
say that they were
it's
like at
like-
all larger, you'd be toast.
Yeah.
Like they'll eat you while you sleep.
Well, there was something that like if there was something that I read that it was like if you were to die and like you were locked up with your dog, like your dog would like cry and like lay by your side for like 2 weeks, and like if you died with your cats, they'd sniff you and like devour you immediately as soon as they realize you're dead.
Good, just as I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get these cats off my dress!
Well done.
That's how I'm gonna die. I'll be like, eat children.
my last gift to you. Children. As your mother, my last gift. Consume
Yeah.
of
Hi, my pretties!
Like 20 cats just swarm me and then I'm gone.
God.
You're just laughing.
you're just bones.
No, it's true.
yeah.
Like that is very true. I've heard they would totally eat you alive. So that's
Going
scary.
back though, I totally
But yeah.
feel you, and like you feel overwhelmed
Yes,
with all
it's
the
overwhelming.
shit that is
Yeah.
in this world and the negativity.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, and that's what I try and keep in mind is like even if you're doing a small thing, in that moment, you are making the world a better place. Is it a tiny little bit of the world? Absolutely. But you're still making it better.
It absolutely, yeah. Because if it's just like voting, how one person thinks like, oh, my vote won't make a difference.
Right.
But if everyone had that mentality, nobody would vote. And it's the same thing with making changes for our environment. Like doing those little things. You're like, yeah, I'm only one person, but everyone else is only one person.
Yeah.
Like, the
Or
more
like
and more people
the tiny
do it.
niceties that you can help out people with.
Yeah.
Like, it seems really stupid, but like one thing that I really try and keep in mind is like I'm a taller person. So a lot of times like people on airlines will need help putting their suitcases up. And it pisses me off when people just sit there and go like, oh, this asshole's trying to get their suitcase. I'm like, I will get up and go, excuse me, do you need help? Here you go. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Again, that's like the dumbest, smallest thing. But for that person, they were like, that was very nice. And for one little moment, they go, thank you. Okay,
Have
cool.
you traveled with Iris yet?
Yes, yeah.
Have you like on a plane?
Yeah. She's actually pretty good.
Did she help put someone's
Yeah.
luggage?
She's
got-
also a tall baby, so
I
that's
put
where
her
we're
up
going.
there. I was like, yeah, okay, good. 3 hours later.
You doing okay up there? All right,
You're good. Two hits if you need
Yeah,
snacks.
but I just like I read a lot of stories about parents, usually like moms who are traveling with their children alone or something, and then they, will tell this amazing story about how the person next to him, instead of like throwing a fit and being, a horrible person because they had this baby, would be like, oh, like let me hold your baby, like I have an iPad, like put on a movie, and it's just like that shit. Fucking.
I've become hyper aware of that now as a mom.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like hormones in general, but now like I get the feeling of like any children around me, I'm like, I'm responsible for them too and their happiness.
Yeah.
So if I see moms like that, I'm like, okay, I'll throw out like, hey, do you need some help? Do you need me to carry this for you? No problem. Especially knowing that I was like a piece of shit as a kid. Like I had horrible 2's and 3's. Like I was the terrible 2 and 3. So my mom tells me this story.
4 and 5.
Yeah. We're probably to
Never
like
stepped.
then 12. All right,
still
calm down a little
terrible.
bit. Yeah,
Still
27.
we were flying to New York, and I apparently was just like losing on the plane, like same temper tantrums, kicking seats, everything. And it got to the point where my mom just like broke down crying because she didn't know what else to do. And this woman came over and she was like, "I'll watch your kid for 5 minutes. If you want to go," like she gave her some money and was like, "Go have a drink, go get some alcohol or something." My mom was like, "Thank you so much." I'm like, I want to be that for someone else. I wanna be that for them.
Yeah,
I would do
it's
that
always,
too.
It's just nice little things, just making the world a better place,
Yeah.
even if it's offering to carry someone's suitcase.
I'm trying to
or
figure out a way to
not
do
eating a
it
steak.
in a non-creepy way, because oftentimes I'll be on a plane, and especially if there's like a family that has multiple kids and they're like juggling or whatever. I'll be like I could like, if you want me to hold your baby for like a little bit.
You
Like,
just- I can imagine you being like, "Here's your baby."
Here it
I'm holding it."
but like, because I would like to help out in that situation, because I'm like, I'm just sitting there, like I don't mind like holding it, and, like playing with it for a little bit while you guys like take a nap or like rearrange yourself. But I also don't be like, let me hold your baby for
I'll take that baby.
Exactly.
from you
Like,
right now.
give me your child. And they're like, who are you?
Dámelo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree that. I think we could all start by just doing one little nice thing.
I know. I'm realizing I was talking about the turtle straws and there's a straw in my drink. So I,
Bitch.
Yeah.
I've already messed
We're
up.
part of the problem.
I'm flawed. I'm going to be better.
We recycle,
Yes, we'll get rid of it. So we'll apply it to a prop or something. and we'll
reduce,
use it
reuse,
later.
recycle.
But I'm gonna be better.
All right. Well, we got 2 box of issues questions that we're going to do this week. Let's see what's first.
Let's see who they're from.
Let's see who they're from.
Here's the mail.
This one's a long one.
Blue's Clues are
Oh,
here.
it's a long one.
This one's a long one. So this is from Anonymous.
Okay.
Anonymous male. 20 years ago, I was at a party and I was talking with a girl and I thought it was going well.
20 years ago.
20 years ago, damn.
Wow.
I had my arm around her shoulder and we were laughing and having a good time. As the night went on, I progressed to having my arm around her waist and then her hips, and then I put my hand on her butt. Nothing else happened that evening. I left the party thinking everything was fine. She never said anything to me that indicated this was unwelcome. I did find out later in the week that she had said something that night to my friends that it was unwelcome, and they assured her that I was harmless and that it was okay. It was not okay. If she did not want me to touch her in that way, she should have been comfortable enough to tell me with the confidence that I would cease that behavior and accept the situation with tact. That's the ideal, but that's not the reality. She didn't feel comfortable telling me my actions were unwelcome. That's a systematic problem, and that's not something she should be blamed for. Furthermore, she was dismissed as making a big deal out of nothing. That's not okay. One of my biggest regrets is that I never apologized to her. I was so embarrassed and ashamed that I made her feel that way, and I couldn't bring myself to face her. I can't change the past, but I can work towards the goal of breaking the cycle of blaming women for the things that they are subject to and stopping others from dismissing those who speak up. I just don't know where to start. Please help me figure out what I could do to contribute towards change.
I will say, just from your like self-reflection on the event, it shows some mad maturity.
Yeah.
I will say to go like, I don't blame her for this at all. And I know a lot of people who would be like, oh, she's just, overreacting. And you're like, no, I fucked up. That's really cool.
I think there are a lot of situations where things like this happen where there is no ill intent meant, but someone is uncomfortable. And because of the way things are, a lot people don't feel comfortable speaking up
Yes.
in the moment because either they feel
For that exact
uncomfortable-
reason, people
exactly.
go, oh, you're overreacting, no big deal,
Right.
whatever.
Either that, or
Yeah.
it's like this guy could kill me if I
Yes.
reject him, or it's
Yeah.
like I don't like this, but like I don't want to embarrass him. I don't want to
Sure.
make either of us uncomfortable, even though I'm uncomfortable. There's a lot of like,
It's
Yeah.
a terrifying situation.
Yeah.
And Hannah, I know that you worked as, remind me again, like.
Yeah, no, what
During
we've
college?
talked about, in college, we've talked about before that when I was in college for like about 3 years, I worked at a sexual assault hotline. So basically being on call to answer calls if someone had been harassed or assaulted and needed help in various forms.
Wow.
It really depended on the call, what you were being asked to assist with. So yeah, I mean, I have a background in basically we were trained to do that. We took like a year of we took like coursework on like gendered violence and understanding how those kind of systems work, and then another semester of like training before we ever like got on the phone and did any of that. But that's like what you're saying. There's what I think. What Lindsay said is that yes, like already, I don't know if it's a man or a woman,
it's a
but
guy.
we,
It's a guy.
we can assume that
Yeah.
it's a guy maybe. But I mean, I think that's already a huge. You're already taking like huge steps to help because a huge part of it is just having men who are acknowledging that this is something that women deal with, that it's something that is common and it happens a lot, and also exactly like you're not blaming her, you're not saying it's her fault. The fact that you're being that level of maturity and understanding is such a good start in the right direction, and a lot of that goes so far when men are willing to have those conversations, those hard conversations, and talk about this is a thing that I didn't realize I was doing this. I didn't know that I had made her uncomfortable. That goes so far, and even like you were saying. I was just reading about it recently, like there's a response that people in general, but particularly women in like traumatizing situations have, which I think it's called tonic immobility, which is essentially like in animals playing dead. It's just like a parasympathetic response that your body has when you're in cases of extreme like tension or fear, where there's always the understanding of like fight or flight. Like we talk about you either fight or you flight. You're gonna punch a guy in the face or you're gonna run away. But in reality, a lot of the times like that like parasympathetic response will kick in and you freeze. Your muscles may tense up, you may do nothing, you may not be able to speak.
You just kind of feel numb.
And you feel just kind of, you freeze up.
And your brain's just going, stop.
Panic.
I want this to stop.
Exactly. And so I think a lot of people don't talk about that fact, that a lot of the time you may not visibly see that someone is having a negative reaction. And I think the fact that, after the fact that you're able to acknowledge, okay, this wasn't the situation that I thought it was. And I realize in the aftermath that I feel awful about it. And the fact that clearly this person understands that and moving forward is already being helpful to other people, to women and men. I think like the thing I've talked about like a lot with you and with other people is like a big part of it is just open communication and talking to people about these kinds of situations and going
just
like,
saying like, hey, like, is this okay? Like, just want to make sure you're like, I know it's hard because people, especially at parties, they want to flirt and like maybe they're getting vibes from someone and they think they're into it and it could be confusing. And you don't always want to be like, is this okay? Could I put my hand like on your leg?
Yeah.
But there's a way to do it in a sense where it's like, hey, like, just want to make sure you're comfortable with like, like, I think you're cute or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, do you mind if I put my hand on your back? Or
Well,
whatever.
everything in society, especially in media, has been pushing this idea of like that's unsexy. To ask to be kissed is like you want the whimsical pull you in. It's like there's nothing whimsical about that, dude. It's just like no, stop. So I am all for things like that. Like, hey, is this okay? Just quick like that, or
is it okay if I
kiss
put
you?
like,
Cool. That's not weird. It doesn't ruin the mood at all. It's simply thank you. Asking. Let me text Michael real quick. Okay, cool. As long as you get the okay. Stuff happen. Always open. But yeah, it's literally asking for consent. That's all you're doing. So and I think it's so important too because clearly, in this instance, there was a boundary that was touching the butt. It's like, okay, that's not cool with me. It seemed like everything else until that point was okay. But for some people, it could be way earlier than that. Yeah, some people don't want to be touched at all. Yeah. So it's good to have that open communication, like you said.
I think, and then just like, exactly, having communication with the person in the moment, however feels comfortable for you, because I agree, it's like so hard when you're first meeting someone to be like, can I like touch you? It's gonna feel awkward. No. So like just finding ways to just be like, I think getting comfortable, I think it's just like personally getting comfortable with talking about those things, being like, even if it's just like a friendly, can I put my arm around you? Like less serious, like, I'm going to put my arm around you.
And
now,
also, like,
you know?
learn to also look for visual or
Cues.
physical cues. Like,
Yeah.
if she's just kind of standing there stiff,
Yeah.
you might sense that, like, she's not
Yeah.
comfortable with this.
Yeah.
or,
Body
like,
language
but then if
stuff.
she, like, puts
Yeah.
her arm back around you, like, okay, she's,
Yeah.
like, more comfortable with you.
Or this is my favorite. You can ask this: if you were a pirate, would you put
There you go.
your parrot on this shoulder, or on this shoulder,
Nice.
Or on the
Yes.
booty.
or on your ass?
I'm a big fan of this one, and hopefully it
missed
will
my
read
joke.
on camera.
Yeah.
But pull it in your pocket, and I go, Hannah, will you hold this for me for a second?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh.
I like the,
Your red rover grip.
I like the accounting
I was
shoulders.
pancaking. I don't waffler. I
Let's
didn't
count
ask permission for
shoulders. 1,
waffling.
2, 3, 4.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That one,
But
there you
yeah,
go.
and I think in terms of, I think the last question was, how can I be?
How can I contribute towards change?
Right. I mean,
I was gonna say, I think a thing that helps that I like to do is call people out when they're being shitty, and like even if it's kind of like obviously this happened so long ago that like you can't go back to that situation, but
Right.
in that instance where the friends or whoever are saying like, oh, she's making a big deal out of nothing, you can say, no, she's not. Like, I did something, I crossed a line that I shouldn't have, and she has every right, because every person has every right to feel how they want to feel about any situation that they're in. So I think like people are now you're too afraid to like call someone out. It's like don't
Yeah.
fucking- who
Don't be
cares?
afraid, and especially when if someone's making you feel uncomfortable, I think a lot of people might be afraid to say something about
Yeah.
that in terms of how they would react. I think there could be a way to go about it where it's like, hey, like I think you're nice, but like I feel like not close enough with you to be hanging out like that. Like
Yeah.
most people, if they're good people, will understand and
Yeah.
back off.
Yeah.
But I never want to say someone should do that because
Yeah.
there's no one situation for this. People
Right.
could feel in danger or intimidated,
Yeah.
and it's scary.
yeah.
Well, I like your thing about calling people out too, is before the time. It seems like recently there's been a big push of holding people accountable for their actions and things like that, and I love that. I'm glad that we're calling it out because in previous years, especially like thinking high school and colleges, people would say, oh, just ignore them. Ignore
Right.
them. It's like, okay, that was the big mentality. Ignore them and it will go away.
Yeah.
It's like, well, not really. The
Yeah.
issue is still there. That person's still behaving that way, and you're ignoring them. Maybe that keeps you safe for a little bit and feeling better, but they're just going to do it to someone else.
Right.
So you really have just continued their behavior, but saved yourself from that. So now, calling people out, you're making active change. I mean, specifically, Barbara and I have encountered people at conventions who have done things that are inappropriate, and we go, hey, don't do that. And there's like moment of awkwardness where they go, I'm sorry, but
Especially like you don't want to
know.
be rude to someone who is,
Right.
a fan of yours and like loves your work or whatever. You don't
Yeah.
want to be like, hey, don't do that, because then they're
Right.
like gonna have this bad impression of you,
Sure.
and they're gonna be like, oh, this person was a bitch, but it's like
but
still not appropriate.
we trust that you are mature enough to want to improve yourself. So when we see those interactions and we go, okay, me, not as Lindsay the voice actor, as Lindsay as the person, isn't comfortable with this, I would hope that me saying, hey, that wasn't appreciated, is allowing you, again, to have a little bit more maturity and to grow as a person and go, oh, okay, I shouldn't do this anymore. Great. So we're really, I know it sounds like a shitty thing to say, but we're doing it to help you. We're not trying
Yeah.
to
Right.
say like,
'Cause
fuck
you
off.
you might not know this isn't
Yeah.
inappropriate.
Have you
Yeah.
guys had to do that like pretty often?
There was
Not really. I mean, a majority of people are
not
nice.
too
but-
often.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
maybe like once every couple conventions we
Yeah.
go to. Like the worst I experienced was there was a guy who was very friendly and very nice, but he came up and just grabbed me and picked me up. And usually if like someone's like, could I hug you or whatever, and
I
I'll
leg you
always-
into the
Fuck
air?
yeah, let's do it. Bring it in.
I love hugs.
Yeah.
But it hurt because
Yeah.
he like squeezed me, and B, it was like scared me, and it was like someone just coming at you and grabbing you, and I said, hey, like, don't do that. You can't do that without someone's permission. I understand that, you're a fan of the show that we work on and you feel close to us, but you still have to ask permission.
Right.
Whenever you're doing that to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even a friend, it's
Yeah.
people want to feel comfortable and he apologized and he was very sweet about it, but sometimes you just need to tell people right away.
Consent for everything.
Yeah.
And
And
that spreads across genders too. I know people will be like, oh,
Yeah.
like this, hey, men, listen up. I'm like, dude, I, as a tomboy girl who loves getting like rough and tumbly, I literally had the same thing happen to me where I was like, wow, like some people are really not okay with me being too physical with them or
Yeah.
trying to like, be like I am with a lot of the dudes, like, hey, let's punch it out. They're like, dude, don't do that. And I'm like, okay, I gotta learn to chill.
Yeah.
Like read the room, know what people are comfortable with, and move on.
Yeah, and I think the best advice I could give is nip it in the bud. Like if you
Yeah.
ever see this behavior or experience it, say something right away.
Yeah.
Because the longer you let it go on, the more that person or people will think that's an okay thing to do.
Yeah.
And it'll be harder to break away from it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
But I appreciate this guy writing in.
Yeah, especially after 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, most people would be like, it was a
Yeah, it was
butt
20
touch,
years.
whatever, get over it. But like the fact that, I mean, I hope you don't harbor on it because clearly, like,
Yeah.
you are, you know, a
Yeah.
You're
good
thoughtful
person.
about it, and also it sounds like this person clearly understands, like, they sound like moving forward, they're already trying. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're already trying to make change, and I think the biggest thing, like you said, is you can be an advocate in the future. If you see something happening like this, like you said, say something. If you hear other people talking about it and dismissing other people who share similar experiences, stand up for them. It sounds like this person's already doing that, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Mad props, yo.
Mad props.
Yeah.
Would you like to read our next?
I have a thing I'd like to read here. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for
I'm
it?
ready.
Where is it? Here it is.
Do it.
On me. You ready?
There she is.
Here we go. This episode of Always Open is brought to you by Hubble. You know Hubble. I know Hubble. I love Hubble. I talk about Hubble because Barbara doesn't have contacts, but I do
I
because I
don't.
cannot see. So Hubble are once-a-day contacts. I love them. You literally pop them in your eyes in the morning. I do. And then at night, take them off, throw them away. We live in Texas, and I have horrible allergies, and my allergies affect my eyes the most. So it's hard for me to wear like long wear contacts, like the contacts you have to wear for like 2 weeks or for a month, because my eyes get super dry, they get super itchy, and like I feel like all the pollen just like sits on them.
Ugh.
I don't have to worry about that with Hubble. Once a day, pop them in, take them right out. I love it. So what if I told you that you can get a fresh pair of lenses for every single day for less?
I would say, wow.
What? What a deal! 60 contacts for $30. Do the math. That's $1 per day, people. This is way more affordable than other brands. You can go to hubblecontacts.com and get your first 2 weeks for free.
Oh, free.
For free. Hubble sells directly to you, so they can offer contacts for half the price. They can send you to an optometrist if you don't have a prescription. They can do it right now. You can do it. You can go to Hubble, and they'll be like, here's your nearest doctor. Go check them out.
Hot damn.
Hot damn.
Hubble Dam.
Yes.
Getting contacts has never been more convenient or affordable. No more overpaying and no more overwearing, importantly, because your eyes are very important. I know so many people who will be like, oh yeah, like this is like I've had this contact in for like 2 months. It's cool. And I'm like,
Yuck.
your eye's gonna fall out. You're gonna go blind.
true.
That's so dangerous.
Not with Hubble.
I know.
Go to Hubblecontacts. You do that?
No, not
better
anymore.
not.
No, not me. Not anymore. I used to. I'm very blind.
Good. I'm glad you don't.
Yeah.
Go to hubblecontacts.com to get your first 2 weeks of lenses for free. That's 15 pairs for free, you guys. That's crazy, and you can try them on, and you'll love them, and you'll go and buy all of them. You really can't beat this deal. Hubble is offering our listeners 2 weeks of free contacts. So go to hubble.com and get 20/20 vision for half the price. That's HUBBLE contacts.com. You'll select Always Open at checkout. Go and do it. Go and do it right now. Hubblecontacts.com. Select Always Open, our show, at checkout.
That's our show.
And go get some beautiful eyes like these.
Like those
I was gonna
peepers.
say, you wear contacts, right?
I definitely do.
How do you find big enough contacts for your eyeballs? You have the most beautiful big
biggest
blue eyes
beautiful eyes. Look at them.
in the whole entire universe.
What did I tell?
She is wolf
I was
child.
looking at her earlier. I was literally like, your eyes look so like light green and beautiful from this angle.
Wow.
And then I was like, but straight on they look so like icy blue and beautiful. And then she just goes, that's the astigmatism.
It's funny because right before when we were doing makeup, Texas got these new lashes, and they're like long. Like usually they make lashes long so you could trim them to your eye size. And I was like, I want to meet the person who these fit.
Yeah.
And he said that he only had to like cut one little lash for your eyes, and I'm like, we found her.
Sense.
The
makes
funny,
sense.
the funny thing is that I'm very blind, and I like without contacts, obviously. With contacts, I can see. I'm sitting here. I drive here every day, so it'll be really
I'm
bad.
Lindsay.
Yeah, this is Lindsay.
Oh, wow.
That's been her this whole time. No, I'm like extremely very. I always get it wrong. Nearsighted is what you can see. Like I can only see close up. Nearsighted,
That's
yes.
nearsighted,
So I'm very nearsighted, and it's because of how big my eyes are. Like my eye doctor has said, because for a long time I thought I was straight up. My eyes were degenerative. I was gonna lose my sight forever. Because I was like 15 going in, and she was like, if you don't date someone with perfect vision, you should see a genetic counselor, because your kids would have horrible eyeballs. And I was like, wow, good to know. I'm 15.
Yeah.
This is a lot of pressure.
On your dating application.
Do you have
have
20/20 vision?
Yeah.
2015 is a bonus.
Yeah. And so, but it was basically, I was talking to her because she's like, your eyes are really healthy, but they are just like a millimeter too large, which I guess on the scale of an eye is pretty big.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's kind of like a camera. It doesn't focus properly. It's like all the pieces inside don't match up with the lens or whatever. I don't know technical things. But yeah, so they were basically like, your eyeballs are too big, so they don't work. And I have really bad vision, which maybe like people in the audience would be like, yeah, you're fine. Because I remember Blaine early on when I first met him, he's like, your eyes aren't worse than mine. And I was like, what's your prescription? I don't remember what Blaine's prescription is. But if you go by contacts, you wear contacts.
Yeah.
Do you know your negative number?
375.
Ooh, I'm almost a -9.
Good
So
Lord.
someone back there just went, oh my God.
I think my mom was a -7, and that was like, crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like a -9.
I don't know what Michael is. I want you guys to compare
Yeah,
notes. 'Cause
it's-
he's blind as
compare
bad.
eyes.
It's not fun.
God, I think, I mean,
bad.
mine is, I can't see
Yeah.
without my contacts or my glasses.
Yeah, I mean, I
cannot
can't like
anything.
see my hand. Like
Yeah.
I can see a blob. I
Yeah.
see like a flesh color.
2020, am I right?
I'm so jealous.
Hey, you can have children with Barbara.
Yeah.
Or Lindsay.
I have
She's
been.
taken.
We know that she's
But-
fertile, though.
Yeah, it's
We'll
true.
make room.
I can produce kids.
Hey.
Let's do it.
I was gonna say, watch a lot of Handmaid's Tale. They're gonna see you got Iris, and they're gonna be like,
Oh
well,
God.
For my country.
blessed be the fruit, motherfucker.
Hey, may the Lord open, baby.
The Lord open your pants.
I will say I've been like Michael's eyes for a lot of
Really?
things because his vision is so bad. Specifically, like in the Assassin's Creed games, there's things called the Animus fragments that you get
Yeah.
to pick up, and that completes your map. And before, in earlier games, they didn't have a map that you could like basically unlock in the game, and it would show you where all they were. So we'd be playing together. I'd love another one too. Oh, bless.
I got you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so
boo.
slow.
Oh, you're fine.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Texas.
But there'd be like one, I don't know, like 7 rooftops in the background. I was like, it's over there, back to the left. And he was like, how the fuck do you see that? I'm like, I got you.
Crystal
And
clear.
Then they added it to the game. I was like, I'm useless. I have no purpose here.
You don't need me anymore. This was my one job.
So if you need like a seeing eye friend,
I do
I got
all
you.
the time.
Seeing eye friend.
Honestly.
Ooh, that'd be a cool. There's actually, just a side note before we get to our last box of issues, I saw an app that is for people who have like free time or like downtime and want to help blind people.
Oh.
So it'll be someone who connects to someone who's blind or hard of seeing using an app. The person puts a camera up to like if they're grocery shopping and looking
Oh, yeah, I
for
saw that.
certain things, or if they need to like, if they're trying to basically, if they need someone to be their eyes for something, someone could connect with them and help them via
That's
the app.
awesome.
And I was
Yeah.
like, this is an incredible
That's
idea.
incredible.
Yeah.
Going back to what I was talking about interconnectivity with internet, that would not have happened.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so another box of issues question before we wrap up the show. This one comes from Laura, who's 20 years old. I've noticed a load of my insecurities stem from comments other people have made. For example, I'm quite insecure about my age because I look really young and have had several people tell me how surprised they are that I'm an adult. My mom recently commented that she thinks I sometimes act childish and that's why people think I'm younger. I now am finding that it's affecting my life in a huge way. I talk a lot less than I used to because I'm worried that what I'll say will sound childish. I know I shouldn't care what other people think, but I can't stop myself from taking things to heart. Do you guys know of any ways to stop yourself from taking silly comments to heart or any way of overcoming insecurities?
Work for an online production company.
You'll learn everything that's wrong with you.
Yeah, have
God.
people throw a barrage of insults at you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, first of all, girl, you're going to look fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a
You're
good
old,
problem
yeah.
to have.
It's better than
being-
looking old.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm just now starting to look my age. I feel like I've always skewed younger. Like even now, like I'll meet people who are exactly my age, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you look like an adult, and I don't look like that at all. Like I feel like I'm 17, and
Yeah.
you're like this like hot person who has their life together, and I'm just like, help me.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's I don't know, man.
Well, how do you deal with insecurities?
Well, I don't have any.
Nice. Damn. Just
Just be perfect like
have them.
Mariel. You just don't have to
don't
worry
have
about it.
Well, for me,
Oh my God, I have so many
who
insecurities.
has a
Where do I
lot as
start?
well. Something that, I mean, I'll be honest, there are days when it gets to be really bad.
Yeah.
Especially working online and getting negative comments said about you, or you read people talking about you somewhere on an online forum or whatever it is. And especially if you're having a bad day or a bad mental health day or just not in a good mood, those could seem even worse than they are.
Yeah.
And there have been days where I've just like spent all day crying or like had to go home or whatever it is because it just ruins your outlook and your opinion of yourself. And that's okay. That's okay to experience that. Everyone does. You shouldn't feel ashamed of yourself for letting comments get to you because it happens.
No, that's
We're all
human
people.
emotions.
But as long as you are happy with who you are, I think that's all that should matter.
Yeah.
I bring this up like every 3 episodes, probably always open, but my favorite quote is be who you are and say what you feel because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind.
It's true. And it's so hard to get to that point too. I feel like it's a never-ending struggle, honestly. And I completely agree. It's like that, reading that was like a carbon copy of my experiences with Rooster Teeth and coming to this audience. I was like, hardcore like movie moment Hollywood dreams of like, yeah, I'm gonna be a movie actress, and then I'm reading the comments, I'm like, oh fuck me, oh my god, like okay,
I guess not.
Yeah, I guess I deserve to die because I exist. Cool, awesome. So yeah, I completely agree. Like there were times where it was really depressing, and there was a big part of early times at Rooster Teeth where it wasn't like I wanted to die. I just didn't want to be alive because I knew that was the negativity that was going to be so intense that was coming at me. Yeah. So I would make excuses for like not talking to people or hanging out with people, especially when my personality is like the crazy, wild person who says like crazy shit. And that's just who I am as a person. I've had to come to accept that. That's fine. But I made an effort to be like, I just won't talk to people. Therefore, I will never find myself in an instance where someone's making fun of me because I just won't say anything. And then I came to realize, I'm like, wow, I'm just like not living. I'm not doing anything. I'm just kind of sitting there existing because I just don't want to offend other people. And it came to a point where I was like, well, do I want to live the rest of my life in misery like this? Or I just want to say, you know, they probably have more issues with them and that's why they're upset with me. Yeah. So I'm going to move on with my life.
Yeah, a lot of people say negative things to validate themselves as people or to put someone else down to make them feel bigger. And it sucks that like this person's mom is saying these things, and maybe your mom has her own issues and feels like making fun of you. Or
her mom said
down.
that she was immature, right?
She recently commented she thinks she acts childish, and that's why people think she's young.
And I know that's hard too, especially when it's family or someone you care about. And I like to give people the benefit of the doubt that they're coming at that with good intentions, but that doesn't mean that it has a negative effect.
Yeah.
And I've had that battle with family members too, where they're like, oh, well, maybe if you did this a little bit, maybe if you dressed up a little bit more, maybe if you made yourself more presentable for camera, you just didn't talk about these subjects. I'm like, yeah, but again, I'm not being true to myself at that point. I'm making you happy. And I want to make me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite videos on the internet is, I think that's this cute, tiny little girl, and I think her name is like Jessica or something, and it's like Jessica's positive affirmations, and she's literally like sitting on her sink in her bathroom, and she's just like, I love me, like I love my mom, I love my hair, and she's like going
I
off.
love that.
Awesome.
She's got the really curly hair.
Super curly hair, and it's big, and it's just like, God, I wish everyone everyone should wake up that like every morning and just like be able to tell themselves that and actually believe it. But I know it's super hard, and it's
Do your own cheers to that every morning.
yeah, there you go.
something
Yeah,
you're
you know,
happy
and I
with.
think, I don't know, like the whole childish thing, like
I feel
you're
like
20 years old.
Yeah.
You're still kind of a
that-
child.
yeah.
I'm 26.
But also,
I'm still kind of
even
a
if
child.
you're 30 or 40 and you are a kid at heart or young at heart or whatever it is, and you're happy with that,
Ain't nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
as long as you're happy with yourself.
It also depends on who you ask. Someone could be like, wow, you're really immature. And then you talk to someone else and you're like, wow, you are really mature and well-spoken. It's like, it just depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Also, you'll probably always be childish to your mom.
Yeah.
I can imagine there's so many instances where I know like my mom has been like.
And they're always
Okay,
going to
get
see
it.
you. Yeah, they're always
Yeah.
going to see you as a child.
So I think,
Exactly.
you know, especially in that situation, like don't focus on that and don't like be like, oh God, like this is like the worst thing that anyone could say to me, and now like my whole world is ruined because, I mean,
It's just people wanting to get some weird satisfaction of putting you down. Like someone calling you young or saying you look young, it could just be an observation that they're making without thinking it's insulting.
Not
Yeah.
realizing how it sounds.
Oh, you look so young for being
Yeah.
20. Like
Yeah.
some people might not think of that as an insult. They might actually think of it as a compliment or just an observation. Like you're really tall or you're so short. Whatever it is.
we have an intern here who I found out was 19, so I call her the baby genius. 'Cause I'm like,
Nice.
holy shit, you're so fucking smart. What are you doing here?
So you say you skewed young usually. It's
Yeah.
like I always skewed a little bit older, and I'm still the same way. And it's funny, like I had this one moment recently, I think it was like a few months ago, where someone asked me like if I was Michael's mom, and I was like,
What?
cool. But like, I just had to not take it to heart. I was like,
Yeah.
I appreciate that you think that I have like the emotional maturity that maybe you think that I'm a little bit older than I am. Cool.
Yes,
But
Michael,
also, if you were Michael, like, wow.
yeah.
Keeping it tight.
Damn.
Looking good.
That happens to my girlfriend and her sister and her mom. They all favor each other. They all look really, you can tell they're related. But so often her sister, who is like 30 something, like she's pretty young, and like, but so often her and her mom will like be out together and they're like, oh, you're sisters? And it just like fucking ruins her day.
Yeah, I'm sure it makes her mom say.
Yeah, her mom's like,
They're like,
yes, of course we're sisters.
of course.
And it actually happened while we were at this wedding. One of the bridesmaids who didn't really know her went up to my girlfriend, and she was with her sister, and she was like, oh, so is this your mom? Because my girlfriend had been like, oh yeah, my mom's here and my girlfriend's here. And she didn't mention her sister being at the wedding too.
Oh, no.
And so her sister was just like,
Dying.
and she was like, I mean, you don't look like her mom, but are you her mom? And she was like, no, I'm not her mother.
Goodness.
Rip.
But
I was gonna say.
that's both ways.
I think a lot of it too, at least for me, when I was dealing with insecurity, because like I would joke about my deep voice, but it was definitely something like as a kid, very self-conscious
I love
about
your
it.
voice.
I know. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Yeah.
Did not. Still have some insecurities about it, but like as a kid.
Lindsay sounds like a pubescent boy. Thanks.
How dare they? But that's
boy.
I think it's like, okay, so I had this insecurity. A lot of it for me was, whatever insecurity you may have, finding the parts of yourself or the things about yourself that you do like and really focusing on that. Because I think for me, a lot of it was like, okay, I have a weird, deep man voice and I had like, ugly hair. I was like frizzy little tomboy. But I was like, you know what? I get good grades, and I'm a nerd, so I'm gonna take pride in that. And I would find things that I was like, okay, this gives me confidence. My ability to do well in school, which is like, nerd. But like, that was where I would get my confidence. So if there's something that you're being made to feel insecure about, I think you can look at that and go, okay, where is this coming from? Is it coming from someone who is insecure about something in their life, or they're having a bad day and they're looking to get rid of some of that anger or anxiety out on somebody else? Or are they saying something and I may not understand their intent behind it? And then once you've kind of looked at that and gone, I don't think there's really anything here, I'm not worried about it, I'm gonna focus on something about myself that I like and pick something. It can be like, I like my handwriting. I think I've got great handwriting. I don't personally, but like you may, some person thinking, right? And be like, I think I have good, I'm a hard worker, or I think I can make people laugh, or I have like good, beautiful hair.
Or a cool style.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm a kind person. I think you can focus on that and go, you know what? What's important to me are these things, and I believe that I have these things, and that's enough for me.
It's like people are always going to think that I'm younger than my age, and that's
and it
just the
takes
way it
time.
is.
Hey, and then when you get to 50, you're like, yeah, I'm 30.
Yeah, you're gonna look great. Yeah.
Let me into this
When
club.
you say that, just branching off of it too, I mean, that's literally an exercise that a lot of psychiatrists use too, is they will ask you, what do you like about yourself? List 5 things, list 3 things, list 1 thing. It doesn't have to be crazy, small things. I mean, it could literally be like, I'm wearing awesome lipstick today. Cool, done, great, awesome.
Yeah.
And if you find someone else that you trust or like a very close friend, ask them, what do you like about me? And just hearing those things too can kind of help reaffirm yourself too, and go, it's not just me.
Yeah, that's my love language is positive
Exactly.
affirmation.
All the
I'm all
time.
about
Yeah.
it.
If I need
like me.
if I need affirmation, I just go to Mary. I'm like, tell me I'm not terrible. And she's
Right,
like,
literally, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're the most prettiest princess I've ever seen.
Aw, Michael and I straight up did that last night because we were
Yeah.
both feeling kind of bummed about like just the way the world is and everything's kind of shitty, and we're like, what's some small stuff that we love about each other? And then we back and forth for a little bit, and it was cute.
This is so nice.
Like, we made this baby.
Damn straight.
baby.
Yeah.
Dude, being a parent is just keep looking at your kid and going, holy shit, we made that. Look.
Everything will always be positive.
And she's like, she's alive. She's doing it.
Yeah, she's doing it.
She's
Done,
doing
son.
it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, that's beautiful. We should all wake up every morning and say something we like about ourselves.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to
And then, hey, you know what? And I think you can take that to a next level too. Compliment yourself, but then compliment others too. Even if it's
absolutely.
a small thing.
Yeah.
Barbara, I like your cat dress.
Thank you.
It's a dress. It's a cat
It's
dress.
a, it's a
dress.
dress.
It's a cat's dress. I
I'm
like
very
it.
much a fan.
Yeah,
your
me
choker.
too. Yeah.
Thanks, Barbara.
Yeah. And Hannah, I'm so happy you were wonderful on the show today.
Hannah,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
For having me. It was really
boy.
nice.
Yes. And Lindsay, wonderful as always.
As
Thank
always,
you.
Lindsay.
And
Thank
looking
you.
gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Love the haircut.
Beautiful.
Suits you.
So sweet.
And thank you all for being with us today.
of course.
We still have a post show, so if you're a first member, you could check that out the following day after Always Open comes out. So go check that out. And ladies, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Yay.
Yeah.
Clink, clink, clink.
Third cheers.